In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at and doing a tasting review of a Sotol right here on the Tequila Hombre. Coming up next. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Tequila Hombre, where today we're going to be talking about Sotol. Sotol actually has a very storied past when it comes to Mexican history, and dates all the way back to the times when Pancho Villa was in Mexico and back to Prohibition. So Sotol was actually outlawed in the early days, and Sotol manufacturers or distillers were actually put to death if they were caught by Pancho Villa and his people. But it's also known that Sotol was being smuggled into the U.S. by Al Capone during Prohibition. So it's been around for a long time, and it's good. So let's answer the next question. What is Sotol? Okay, so Sotol is a Mexican spirit, but it is not an agave spirit like we normally talk about. It is made from a different plant called Dazelerion, or desert spoon. Now, the Dazelerion is a succulent and is somewhat similar to agave in that it is the root ball that is harvested and cooked, and they extract the sugars from it. So it's pretty much treated like an agave, but it is not an agave. So this is not really considered an agave spirit. So it's not really a mezcal, but we still call it mezcal because it fits in with the rest of the category. So according to Mexican law, there's only 3 states that can produce a spirit that they can call Sotol. It can come from Chihuahua, it could come from Durango, and the other state is Coahuila. Now, there is some Sotol that's made in other areas of Mexico, but they're not called Sotol. For example, in Sonora, it's known as Palmilla, and in Oaxaca, it's known as Cucharillo. And then in Texas, there is a distillery making it. They call it a Texas Sotol, but still there's a lot of debate about whether they should be allowed to call it Sotol or not, because it's not within where the designation of origin states that something called Sotol could be made. Now, there isn't a treaty right now for the enforcement of the term Sotol with the United States, and so the Desert Door distillery is allowed to produce the spirit and call it Sotol. All right, so there's kind of some brief information about what Sotol is. It's basically a Mexican spirit that's made from a plant called the Dazelerion, and there's different kinds of Dazelerium that they could use for it. Dazelerium wheeleri is the most common one, but there's other Dazelerium that they'll use as well, and they can make ensembles, or they can make single varietal expressions as well, using different types of Sotol. So I will be doing reviews of other Sotols here on the channel. I do have a brand that we're going to review. So let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about the Sotol we're going to review today. All right. So the Sotol we're going to look at today comes from Chihuahua, Mexico, and it's 40% alcohol by volume. This Sotol is called Sol2Noches, which is basically sun to nights. So there's not a whole lot of information on the label on this particular one, like the type of Dazelerium that they're using, but I'm guessing it's wheeleri since that's the most common. That's basically it. So let's get into the tasting portion and let's see what this Sotol is all about. So let's take a look at it in the glass. I normally like a higher proof Sotol, by the way. So most of the Sotols that I have that I enjoy are higher proof. This one, it doesn't coat the glass extremely well. Let me see. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so it just comes right off. So it's going to be a little thin on the mouthfeel, which is fine. There's a couple of pearls on the glass, but looking at the Sotol itself, it is crystal clear. Looks good. All right, let's see what we get on the nose on this. And normally with Sotols, you get more of an earthy kind of aromas and stuff from it. It's more on the earthy side. And there's a little bit of fruit and stuff in Sotols too, depending on what kind of Sotol you're working with and where it was harvested from. So let's see what we get on the nose on this. Yeah, definitely on the earthy side. I'm getting like a fresh leather, like new leather nose. Almost like a hint of wood too, like an earthy, like woody kind of note. But it smells like a leather shop. If you've ever walked into like a shop that makes saddles and stuff, you have that fresh new leather kind of smell to it. That's what it smells like. It smells good though. I mean, I like a good earthiness. I like a good leather note on some Sotol. So let's see what we get on the flavor profile. But first, we're going to acclimate my mouth to 40% alcohol by volume. So just give me a second first. Okay, I think we're good to go now. Salud. Has a little bit of viscousness to it on the mouthfeel. Definitely getting an earthy flavor profile to it. Definitely like picking up like fresh leather. Just a tad hit to smoke in there. A little bit of anise, like bitterness in there. This is really on the earthy side of things. Not a whole lot of fruitiness to it at all. But if you're somebody that likes a nice earthiness to it, I mean, it's not a bad Sotol at all. I've had Sotols that were similar to this. The only thing is on the flavor profile, I think because it's diluted to 40%, it's a little thin on the flavor for me. And there's not a whole lot of complexity and stuff to it. I'm just mostly getting this earthy notes from it, which is fine. It's definitely drinkable and enjoyable. But it's kind of basic as far as I'm concerned for a Sotol. So if you're entry level and you want to kind of get yourself used to an earthy kind of a flavor profile, this would be a good choice for that. If you've never tried a Sotol before, I would try to point you towards one that's more on the fruity side, and we'll get to some that are more like that. But this one has got a nice earthy flavor profile to it, and it's a good Sotol. It's not great. It doesn't blow me away, but it's definitely drinkable. So how would I rate this one? I'd give it 3 agave, or 3 Sotol. Well, there you go. There's my review and information on Sol2Noches Sotol. It's not the best Sotol I've ever had. It's okay. It's average. I'd like to see it be a little higher proof though, and a little more flavor profile to it. So if you like the information I shared in this video, make sure you click the thumbs up and give me a like. If you're new to the channel, bienvenido, welcome. And hopefully if you want to learn about amazing agave and Mexican spirits like this, and you want to get unbiased, honest reviews, so when you go to the liquor stores, you go with knowledge, which will help you in making sure you select the right agave spirits or Mexican spirits to enjoy when you're at the store. So if you're looking for that, make sure you click the subscribe button right there and the notification bell next to it. And that way you'll get notified every time I post a new informational video or review. And until next time, like I always say, life is too short to drink bad tequila or Sotol. So if you're looking for something, you want to try a little earthiness in a Sotol, you might want to pick up the Sol2Noches. But for me, it's not going to be one that's going to be sitting on my shelf. Salud. Bye, guys.